and even more fantastic to see all of you, all of your faces. So thank you for joining us for the Spring Downtown Update. I'm Julian Tolbert, Chair of the York Business Improvement District Authority Board of Directors, and it's my honor to welcome you here in person and online for today's super update on the projects and initiatives of downtown York. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce some of the members of the Downtown Inc. team. First of all, the newest member, Brittany Brooks, a York native. Brittany joins us as the Director of Community Engagement. She'll be instrumental in connecting us to a wider audience and wider parts of the York community. She's already hit the ground running, and we're very happy to have her on board. Please, again, welcome Brittany Brooks. I'd also like to recognize two other members of the Downtown Inc. team, Hannah Beard, who handles marketing and merchant engagement, and Matthew Seacrest, project manager. Hannah, Matthew, you guys. And then there are also many members of the YCEA team here helping with this event. So YCEA team members, thank you very much also. But leading us through the program today will be our new Director of Downtown Inc., Jonathan Desmarais. Jonathan joined the Downtown Inc. and YCEA team in 2020, right at the start of COVID, as Market and Communications Manager, and he brings a strong knowledge of the organization to this leadership role. He was appointed Director of Downtown Inc. in January of this year, 2022. A passionate and committed York City advocate and prolific walker, in 2019, he completed a personal project to walk the length of every city street, including alleyways, in all of York City, 171 miles. Somehow that has made him the leading candidate for Downtown Inc. But he has a proven track record of success in leading the marketing communications for Downtown Inc. over the last 2 years, launching successful campaigns as Downtown Dash social media marketing series, virtual First Fridays at the beginning of COVID, and the Yoko Taco Tour and Downtown Coffee Crawl. A New Hampshire transplant, Jonathan has spent the last 8 years in York County. He's a graduate of Messiah College, Notre Dame of Maryland University. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan Desmarais.
When I made these slides on my computer, my head was not that large, and now that you're all seeing it, wow, that's large. Yes, hello, my name is Jonathan Desmarais, and I am the new Director of Downtown Inc., and I'm pleased to join with you today. One of the aspects that drew me to this position is all of the great people in downtown York, who each and every day are doing small things and big things to make our community a better place for all. So I thank you for being here today. I know we have a lot of great presenters as part of this morning's program, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to take a few minutes to share a little bit of my vision for Downtown Inc. and the community we all love, downtown York. And if I may, I'd love to talk to you about the Downtown York brand, and don't worry, I'm not proposing another community rebranding, but I would like to expand our understanding of the historically edgy Downtown York brand, and most specifically, the narrative of the brand. I once heard the community branding being described in this way. The way our community is perceived is like a pile of sand. Each new development, whether it be a new business opening, a new street cleaning initiative, or a community event that adds more sand to the top of this pile. Some of this sand will fall to the sides of the pile, and as we know, not all new initiatives lead to success, but ultimately each addition helps build the pile higher and higher, allowing it to become noticed by people further and further away. Now, usually people come to the Appell Center to see nationally touring acts. I am not, and yet here you are. And because you are here today, it is clear that you are deeply invested in our community. You are, in fact, an ambassador of the Downtown York brand. And while the businesses we build and the initiatives we start all help build the community brand, The single most important driving factor that furthers the public's perception of downtown York is the way we celebrate and spread the good news about the continued progress of our resilient and creative community. Don't believe me? Well, listen to this. We've all heard about those good old days of downtown York, most noticeably in some Facebook groups. You know, the days when everyone felt safe, businesses were booming, the holidays were such a joyous time, yada, yada, yada. These comments, of course, refer to the mid part of the 20th century, when, yes, downtown York was thriving, but the reality is downtown York is thriving now, and is doing so in the face of immense challenges. The thriving businesses of the 20th century were not competing with the national chain store restaurants surrounding York City, the same establishments that are backed by multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns. The thriving businesses of yesteryear were not competing with a global pandemic, the economic empire that is Amazon, and the list of challenges go on. And yet, here we are. Despite these overwhelming odds, downtown York has seen tremendous growth in recent years. Every month, First Friday welcomes thousands of visitors to downtown. The past 2 years have seen more than 40 new businesses open their doors in downtown, with the addition of 15 expanded businesses, all this in the midst of a global pandemic. In 2021, our community was recognized as one of the top best places in the country for remote working because of our highly rated quality of place. We are continually welcoming and sustaining large-scale businesses in the greater York area because they want their employees to have access to a vibrant downtown. Is there work still to be done in downtown York? I'll be the first to tell you, hell yeah. But I'm also here to tell you, we have so much to celebrate, so much to share about our collective progress here in downtown York. Businesses and outsiders don't want to move to a place where the community that doesn't believe that what we have to offer is unique and desirable. Visitors don't want to spend a night or a long weekend in a place where residents don't believe their home is worth visiting. Each time you share the good news, you are adding sand to the metaphorical pile. You're helping build the brand of our community. So what does this look like in real terms? It's coming to another business's ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the fact that our community is attractive for aspiring entrepreneurs. It's collaborating with another business to expand the locally sourced supply chain. It's being a positive presence on social media, focusing on the ways that our community has succeeded and not on the ways we have fallen short. It's patronizing a small business right here in our community rather than one that is several time zones away. It's encouraging your friends and family to visit downtown York to experience all that our community has to offer. It's asking yourself, what can I do to improve the quality of place for all who live, work, and play here? It's finding ways to support the organizations already doing important work in our community, whether it's financially or with other resources. It's as simple as leaving a positive review for your local favorite business, or lending your expertise to a fledgling business. Ultimately, it's doing your part to continually add sand to our community's collection. It's building the brand of the community we care so much about. I've heard it said by many business owners here in our community, we don't compete with each other, we collaborate with each other. Each time you celebrate and share the continual progress of historically edgy downtown York, despite the odds, you are helping to build the brand that benefits us all. Thank you. And before we get started today with today's program, we want to recognize and thank the Appell Center for the Performing Arts for hosting us here today. So please join me in welcoming Todd Fogdale, President and CEO of the Appell Center, to say a few words. Todd?
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. And welcome back. It's so fantastic to have Downtown Inc., Downtown Update back here and to have all of you with us. I want to tell you that our doors are open. We're excited to be back to doing what we do in helping to attract audiences and people from around York County and beyond into the downtown and here into York County. And just want to share with you, just give you a little sense of some of the events that we have coming up and the range of events that we have coming up. If you're looking for family programming, we have a wonderful event with a Mexican-born artist named Sonia de los Santos. Sonia performs in both English and Spanish. Tickets for this event are only $15 for adults, $10 for children, and we are presenting this in a sensory-friendly manner as well, if you know anyone who might be on the autism spectrum. Our Gladfelter Broadway series, our next show is Waitress, based on the 2007 film with Carrie Russell. Music for this show was done by Sarah Bareilles. Really, really fun show that's coming up there. Lots of great events in terms of live music. We are bringing gospel into the Strand Theater with Vincent Bohannon and the Sound of Victory. They are going to be opened by York's own, the BMA, the Black Ministers Association Unity Choir on May 14th. On June 17th, we're bringing the Grammy Award-winning artist Corinne Bailey Rae. You might remember her from her 2006 song, Put Your Records On. She will be in the Strand. And then a few days later, Lake Street Dive is going to be with us. Wonderful, wonderful, super fun band that blends soul and pop and rock and R&B all together. And then finally, really one of our biggest events of the year, one of York's biggest parties of the year is Gallivant. On Saturday, May 7th, we are going back to the 80s, some MTV, some Marty McFly, some Max Headroom, shoulder pads. You can bring it. It's a wonderful event that helps support everything that we have happening here at the Appell Center. We invite all of you to come and be a part and hope that we see you soon. Again, great to see you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, and we are, of course, grateful to the many partners we have to make this work possible. Today, we are especially grateful to Traditions Bank, our presenting sponsor of Downtown Update. And please join me in welcoming Gene Dragonoski, President and CEO of Traditions Bank.
Thanks, Jonathan. And good morning, everyone. It's great to see y'all here in person. I'm out of practice. I wasn't sure how I was going to act today, but I think I'm doing okay. So anyway, it's been 2 years since COVID-19 changed our world forever, and it's hard to believe. It's not an anniversary I'm anxious to celebrate. What we thought would be 2 weeks of isolation turned into 24 months of uncertainty, frustration, and loss. I want to thank Downtown Inc. and the YCEA for their vital role in COVID communications, information, and recovery assistance. Through it all, you've kept our community connected in interesting and innovative ways. We at Traditions Bank appreciate all your hard work, and I want to thank Kevin, Jonathan, and the entire team for your leadership throughout the pandemic. Now let's talk about another anniversary, one I'm happy to celebrate. Nearly 2 decades have passed since Traditions Bank opened its doors in October 2002. The vision of our founders was to create a true community bank. A true community bank builds real and lasting relationships. It makes decisions locally. It puts its customers' interests first and invests its resources in the causes that matter to the people it serves. In other words, it makes it their mission to help others succeed. Nearly a year ago, we introduced our new brand based on this mission of helping others make their mark. For those who may not have yet seen the logo and understand what it means, it's a simple building block. You can see it up here. It's tied to the history of our organization. The 6 bars represent our 6 original core values. They remain at the forefront of every decision we make. Look closely and you'll see a T within the left shape of the block that stands for traditions. And you'll see a B incorporated to the right. But in the very middle, anchoring it all, is a Y, a large Y for York. York is embedded in our logo to honor our roots, and it will always be central to who we are and why we do what we do. We hope you recognize the Y every time you see our logo. We do. Last year was one of the most forward-focused periods of our history as we built upon a solid foundation for ongoing organic growth and expansion. But it was done with that why in mind, by bringing our brand story to more and more individuals and businesses, even those outside York County. We will continue to grow, thrive, and sustain our goal of independence. Successfully doing so will preserve our ability to support the York community for another 20 years and beyond. Thank you. Now back to Jonathan.
Thank you, Gene, and of course, thank you to Traditions Bank. Our first guest today is Mayor Michael Helfrich to say a few words. And Mayor, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thanks, Jonathan. Gene, you threw me off there. That was deep. I was always like, what's with the box? Now I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. So I was very excited to come and speak to you all. Thank you for coming. Until I realized it's the Ides of March. So everyone stay in your seats. But seriously, I was given a very short period of time to talk, and I want to make sure I get my thanks in there to everyone, to Jules Tolbert and Katie Hines for your leadership on the board. Jonathan, congratulations in your new position, and to Katie and Hannah and Matt. And wait, she moved. Where'd one of my favorite people go? Brittany Brooks. Let's hear it for the crew from Downtown Inc. I got to tell you, I cannot be more excited about York right now. And for those of you that know me, that says a lot. The vision that is coming out, the things you are going to hear about today, the work that Commissioner Muldrow and our police department have done. I've gotten the opportunity here recently to spend a lot of time with mayors from around the country and hearing them talk about their concerns in their communities. And I'm sure you've all heard of the 50% rise in homicides in New York City. Well, in the last 2 years, we've seen a 15% decline, while across the country, 37% increase. So thank you, Commissioner Muldrow. I know we're going to hear more from you, but thank you for all your work. And are there any RAAC people here? Any real estate folks in the house? But if you got to see the report recently, over 100% increase in new folks coming and buying homes in the city of York. Over 100% increase in the value of homes in the city of York over the last 5 years, which creates its own problems, which our Director of Economic and Community Development, Nona Watson, and I are going to work on, because as the price of homes goes up, that creates alternative problems that we have to work on to make sure that everybody can have stable living conditions and healthy neighborhoods in our city. So thank you, Nona. If you haven't met Nona, it's so weird because we're so isolated. I'm not sure who has met people. I just thought about this the other day. There are folks that I used to spend almost every week with, seeing around at different functions. And I'm like, wow, I haven't seen them in like 2 years. So if you haven't met Nona, Director of Economic and Community Development for the City of York, please introduce yourself to her. Visions you're going to hear about from Jeff Shue. If you can just imagine a city 5 years from now, with the Cadores Creek development, with a brand new George Street, with new businesses coming up all over the place, with a Northwest Triangle that's going to get developed here. Things could not be brighter for the city of York right now. So I would just ask you all to continue in your efforts. Every one of you is a piece of the puzzle, and we're building this together. I guess I mixed metaphors there. Maybe you're a brick in the foundation, and we're building this together. But also remember, as we are developing in the downtown, we have a lot of other things to consider in the city of York, and we have to keep our eye on the entire city. Because if the entire city isn't successful, it's harder for everybody, including us here that are working in the downtown. So thank you, everybody. And again, thank you, Downtown Inc., for your amazing job and your amazing support and your partnership in working together to build a better York City. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Helfrich. As Downtown Inc. seeks to make downtown York a great place to live, work, and play for all people, which includes our missional objective of public safety, we are extremely proud to partner with the York City Police Department. So next, we welcome Commissioner Michael Muldrow, who will discuss the recent and upcoming initiatives of the York City Police Department. And Commissioner Muldrow, I would like to personally thank you for your human-centered approach to policing. And I know that our community is a better place because of your hard work and your example. Communities across the country are taking notice of you and your leadership. In fact, he's presenting to a group in Las Vegas this afternoon. And I can confidently say that this recognition is rightly deserved. Thank you for joining us today.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I join in with everybody that spoke before me, and I say it is so nice to be back in person again and not be completely stuck virtually as we had been for so long. With that, I want to be mindful of my time because I promised the mayor that I wouldn't get flagged today or have the lights clicked on me. So I find it really funny, and I can be honest with everybody in this group because I feel like we're all close personal friends. When I was originally invited here this morning, I was super excited, and then somewhere along the way, some of the air came out of my balloon. I was excited, and then I had a bad week. Then we had a bad week. We saw a bad week here in the community, and it felt like, how could I step up there? How could I stand in front of them and tell everyone about what was working? But I come to realize that that was all just kind of a trick. That was all part of the test, a test that we all end up facing on a daily basis, and we're all forced to overcome and realign ourselves. See, something was trying to distract me from coming here, standing up in front of you all, and telling you about our truth. But the truth is, yes, we had a bad week, but we had a good month. The truth is, yes, we had a bad week, but we had a great year. I'm not going to dumb down my message or the successes that we're seeing here in the community just because of a bad week, because of a bad situation, or the bad things that one person decides to go do. Nothing is ever going to be perfect anywhere, not in this community or anybody else's. But the truth is, York, we're doing it. We're getting there. We're making things happen, and we're in a good place. I'm looking over this crowd, and I'm reminded of all the people, the agencies, the organizations that are starting to partner and come together with us and work together to get things done. And because of that, our shots fired calls are down. Our shootings are down. This past year, as the mayor said, we held our homicide rate to an even number. It was actually down a bit at a time when, like he said, everybody else's is rising. And our officers, and I can't say enough about them, our officers are working harder than ever before. With our major gun and violent crime arrests up, citizen complaints are actually down. We've launched many uber successful programs like the free aging in place camera initiative for our senior residents, the Handle with Care initiative to assist individuals who suffer from mental illness and physical disability, a program we're about to actually, like Jonathan said, lecture on in Las Vegas here momentarily, with a room or audience full of professors because they're asking what we're doing in York, they're seeing what we're doing in York, and they want to emulate it. Our therapy dog initiative, and I'm sure most of you in this room all know and have met Victory. Get ready to meet Benny, our second dog that's coming on board. The WellSpan Hospital Resource Officer Program, to my knowledge, which is the first definitely in the state, but potentially one of the first in the country. The VIU, or Violence Intervention Unit, that you all seen, our green shirts, which is our proactive enforcement street team that now works days, nights, and weekends to increase presence in our neighborhoods and go after those would-be shooters that you're seeing that are plaguing our streets. And the Credible Messenger program, and I just want to pause here for a little bit because it feels like a good audience to teach about that program a little bit. The Credible Messenger program is a violence interrupter initiative, which looks to connect with those individuals before they decide to go for their guns, to try to diffuse the strife and the beefs that we see on the streets and prevent groups from retaliating when things like that occur, when incidents do occur. Now, if you haven't met Ms. Tiflo, you need to. She's amazing. She's been in the role for approximately 5 months, and in that time, she's been involved with approximately 15 shooting cases. Now watch this. What that means is post-shooting, she gets out and visits with victims and friends and families of those individuals, meeting with them, working with them, trying to get them to be involved in their own justice, but even more importantly, working to make sure they don't retaliate or promote retaliation with their boys. Of those 15 individuals and cases, in only 2 cases have individuals gone on to reoffend or re-victimize. So if you're counting, that's a success rate of nearly 90% that this one individual is actually having. That's success that I can handle. That's success meaning that she diffuses things and she reroutes individuals before they go back out and plague our streets with more bullets. And we've been awarded grant funding and dollars to move forward with a lot of new initiatives, like bringing apartment counselors and outreach specialists, expanding that same Credible Messenger program into a full team, partnering with our school district to add a trauma responder to help stop the cycle of trauma and victimization that leads these young people to go out and grab guns. We're starting a paid cadet job training program to inspire, educate, and provide a pathway for young people from this community to get interested in careers in public safety and continue to occupy our uniforms moving forward. As the mayor called it one time, a school to police work pipeline. And we're looking to expand our department footprint and officer presence, strategically opening new police outposts across the city, with the first, a new outpost in the Parkway neighborhood set to open. And my shameless plug to you all, we're presently looking for space to open one downtown to address homeless concerns, nuisance issues, and support patrons visiting our downtown merchants. We're even preparing to use ARPA funding and partner with local groups to build a new community center to provide space for free after-school programming for our kids, to give them something to do and get them off the streets. Programming focused on fitness, the arts, music, theater, job preparation, and counseling, because we took time to listen to our kids, and as they reminded us at York High, we don't all dribble. So we truly believe our way is working, and we're reaching our goal of having our department be seen as a resource, a strategic neighborhood partner, and an asset to this community. So with that, I want to say thank you to the mayor, thank you to City Council, thank you to our partners for supporting the work and the vision, and thank you to the community for believing in what we're doing. Because as we continue to get this right, as we get safer, as we get healthier, as we get stronger together, all of York gets better. Thank you.
always consider myself one of York City's biggest fans, but compared to this guy, he just got a York City tattoo just the other day. Great guy. So thank you, Commissioner Muldrow. A reminder, if you have any questions today, please save them for the end, as there will be an opportunity for Q&A with all of our speakers. We're going to have the next four of our speakers come up, four of our speakers, with Commissioner Muldrow to do a panelist discussion at the end. So if you have any questions, save them for the end. We'll pass the mics around and all that good stuff. All right, so to lead our downtown development panel, please join me in welcoming Jessica Brubaker, Executive Director and co-founder of Keystone Kidspace, who will give us an update on all the exciting things happening over at the Keystone Kidspace.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Jonathan. Let's see if I can figure out the remote control. Great. I'm just going to be repetitive and say what everyone else said, which is that it's so great to be here in person and see all these faces that I haven't seen in nearly 2 years. So thank you to the Appell Center for welcoming everyone back in here today. I also want to thank members of my board and my staff who are present today, including my co-founder, Jen Tansey, who I see in the audience, and I know Matthew Davis is here, and anyone else representing Keystone Kidspace. So this is Josh. Josh and kids like him were the motivation for Keystone Kidspace. As Fred Rogers told us years ago, play is often talked about as though it were a relief from learning, but for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood, and that's what we sought to facilitate with Keystone Kidspace for Josh and for thousands of kids across York County and beyond. Keystone Kidspace is a hands-on experiential learning space for kids and families, basically a STEAM-making place. We set the stage so that kids can playfully explore and create, working with real tools and real materials in an open-ended way. The concept of Keystone Kidspace was born in 2013. At the time, a great deal of effort and treasure was being invested in the revitalization of our downtown. And the fruits of those investments have been seen over the last 10 plus years. Like many of you, I was involved in a lot of those initiatives. And at that time, we talked a lot about how to make our downtown more pedestrian friendly, how to make our business district more appealing to 20-somethings and empty nesters. We invested in developing high-quality rental housing and attracting businesses to locate downtown. We worked with Roger Brooks to look at the density of nightlife and gathered to hear his recommendations in this very theater. I'm sure a lot of you were here for that presentation. And we accomplished a lot. But strangely, kids and families were not really a part of that conversation at all, which struck us as odd, given that York has long prided itself on being a family-friendly community. So why weren't we leaning into that? Why weren't we trying to make our downtown more appealing to families and kids? Or working to make our city and our downtown a place where those young professionals we worked so hard to attract would want to stay when they started their own families. It was also around this time that our York City School District was in particular distress. We couldn't ignore and shouldn't ignore the stark disparities in access to high-quality academic learning that was available to students living in the city versus in surrounding districts. And frankly, these disparities have only widened since the start of the pandemic. All students deserve engaging and equitable learning opportunities to prepare them for a world that is experiencing rapid social and technological change. And these experiences don't all have to occur at school. Kids spend most of their time outside of the classroom. They are learning and developing constantly, not just between the hours of 8 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. But the gap in access to high-quality enrichment during that out-of-school time is vast and growing. The gap may seem insurmountable, but we view it as an opportunity. Quality STEAM learning experiences delivered in a makerspace like ours, one that is designed for young people, are ideally suited to address this growing need. Keystone Kidspace activates students' skills in critical thinking, in problem solving, creativity, communication, and collaboration. We empower kids to identify and solve problems that affect them in their community, and we build their resilience by allowing them to fail, to try again, and to learn from their mistakes. Now, here's the third thing that motivated us. The struggle for resources and the pressures of testing have meant that a lot of important opportunities for learning are being pushed and squeezed out of the school day. I'm talking about art and music and shop class and home ec and all of those classes that we remember from when we were growing up that kids increasingly have less and less access to. Kids are being told to be careful, to be safe, to avoid risk, to focus on excellence and perfection at all costs. And that leaves little room for experimentation, for creativity, and even failure, all experiences that are critical to fostering curiosity and developing grit and resilience. At Keystone Kidspace, we seek to supplement the important work that's going on in schools and in homes to fill kids' remaining hours with wonder and play. So the vision for Keystone Kidspace was born, a STEAM learning space designed to meet the needs of our community, that leverages the incredible assets that we already have in York and has the flexibility to evolve to fill the gaps. A third place that families choose to return to again and again, that becomes a regular part of their lives, where they can build community with other families and feel a greater connection to one another. A space where kids can try things and fail and try again, where they can make a mess and explore their crazy ideas and learn to use all of those tools that they aren't allowed to work with at home or at school to solve the problems that they want to solve. We built Keystone Kidspace for us, for the kids and families of York. So this is me and Jen sitting on the front stoop of the historic York Armory building. If you don't know our current and forever home, it is the historic York Armory across the Cadorus Creek from York Revolution Stadium. I want to tell you quickly about the renovation of this building and then the path we've been on for the last 2 years. So this is our home. Built in 1913, the building was in need of a lot of work. I'm not exaggerating, a lot of work. After years of careful diligence, planning, and fundraising, renovations finally began in 2020, and unfortunately, we were soon shut down due to the pandemic. Thankfully, we made consistent progress once we were allowed to get going again, and we never had to shut down due to a COVID outbreak. And we finally began serving families as part of our soft opening just this past October, so we are very new still. I can honestly say that we were extremely fortunate with our timing. We could never afford to build this facility today given the cost of labor and materials. Luckily, we had already locked in our financing, our subcontractors, and our pricing prior to the pandemic hitting. And we were equally fortunate that we did not get underway sooner. Had we just opened prior to the pandemic and the shutdown, we wonder whether we would have made it. Just for those of you who are having trouble understanding where exactly we're located, this is a drawing from ages ago when planning for the ballpark was first being contemplated, and it shows where we are on the other side of the creek. When we were first contemplating the Armory as our future home, I have to tell you, we got a lot of pushback from folks saying it was literally a bridge too far, that was kind of in the middle of nowhere. What were we thinking, locating our new facility on the outskirts, the outer edges of our downtown? But frankly, to us, that was an asset. Today, we're helping to anchor what we really believe is a safe, green, family-friendly corner of our city, and we're really proud to join with the York Revolution, York Academy, the Rail Trail, the Cadorus Project, and so many others who are helping to create and transform this neighborhood into a vibrant, welcoming gateway to our city and our downtown. So I'm going to show you a couple of slides quickly about the renovation. Our facility includes several unique learning spaces, including a large, messy workshop with woodworking tools and art supplies, a teaching kitchen equipped for cooking classes and science exploration, a large, flexible event space, and a digital lab with both analog and the latest digital technology, ranging from typewriters, which kids find really fun to play with, and simple circuit components, 3D printers and drones, and so much more. So it's showing you some before and after pictures of our space. And I like to end on the kids, because this is really what the project was all about. So in addition to the drop-in experience for members and visitors, we also offer field trips, workshops, camps, and special events. We work closely with organizations like the Girl Scouts and have already hosted field trips for many schools and homeschool groups. We have facilitated workshops for students who have experienced trauma, hosted team building and trainings for college students and adults, and celebrated many, many, many birthday kids since we opened in October. Opening in the middle of a pandemic is a huge challenge, and from the beginning, we took the health and safety of our families extremely seriously. We leaned into an extended soft opening, which allowed us to limit the number of people we had in the building at any one time and to take the necessary precautions. Now that we're emerging from COVID, we look forward to becoming the space that was formerly known as the best kept secret in York. And I just want to close by saying this ambitious initiative was a big lift, and it's hard to do big new things. Keystone Kidspace would not be possible without the generous support of our community and so many of you in this room today. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the hearts of all the kids and families that we have already served and will serve in the years to come. The past 2 years have been very hard, and our kids have been asked to give up a lot. They deserve a place like Keystone Kidspace. Honestly, they need it more than ever. And I want to conclude by encouraging us as a community to dream big and to be brave. When we were in the early stages of planning for Keystone Kidspace, we were met with a lot of skepticism, a lot of kind pats on the head, but don't let that stop you. We can do big things. Our community deserves nice things. Our kids and our families deserve nice things. Don't let the fact that something has never been done before discourage you. Don't even be afraid to open a new facility in the middle of a pandemic, which we did do in October. Yes, our community has needs, but we also have incredible assets, generous donors and investors, and a size and scale that honestly makes anything possible. And the pandemic shouldn't derail the incredible momentum that so many in this room helped to create. We at Keystone Kidspace stand ready to partner with anyone who wants to work to build a better tomorrow for the kids and families of York and for our city and our downtown. And we know that we will do incredible things together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And as Downtown Inc. continues our focus on destination marketing, we are excited to invite families from all over to the amazing community asset that is the Keystone Kidspace. Next, it is my honor to welcome our next guest, who is tasked with managing one of the community's most beloved institutions, which is only months away from a grand reopening. Please join me in welcoming Michael Bloom, Managing Director of the Yorktowne Hotel.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today. I feel like I'm the new kid on the block here with so many folks here that have been with the city and the area for so long, but it's a real honor today. I'm the messenger today for the beautiful Yorktowne Hotel. But I'd be remiss if I didn't give credit to our partners with the YCEA and the YCIDA, but even more importantly to me, being a member of the GF Hotels and Resorts team, and Mr. Andrew Todd, who's really been carrying the ball for GF Hotels and Resorts on behalf of this project for the better part of the last 6 years and the restoration of the hotel. So I just wanted to recognize Mr. Todd as our Senior Vice President of GF Hotels and Resorts. So thank you, Mr. Todd, for all that you did for the project. So as John said, I'm Managing Director of the Yorktowne Hotel. Real excited about this amazing opportunity. It's an extraordinary project, as you all well know, coming up on a 100-year anniversary in 2025. But it's been an extraordinary hotel full of challenges, and a lot of those challenges of where we started in terms of what we thought that the hotel would be and what the hotel has become. I'm pleased to report today that it is just far exceeding any expectations of what we could have thought just 6 short years ago. So I want to talk a little bit today about the pre-opening timeline. Big steps, and like I said, material and shipping delays, and any of us who have been through COVID know that the supply chain has been a real opportunity for local businesses and across our country. It's a challenge that we're taking head on and working through to meet those deadlines, meet those timelines, and move forward the project as quickly as we can. We're on a 7-month critical path. That critical path includes construction, which is a major element to a hotel of this magnitude and of this size. Our workforce, identifying our workforce and adding on our team members. I'm pleased to report that I'm the first person to be brought back on board to be a part of the critical path in the opening, but we have added in our new Director of Sales and Marketing, Mr. James Parker, who is also in the audience, who you'll be meeting throughout the community in these coming weeks. So we're pleased to welcome Mr. James Parker. And then there'll be the pre-opening, the FFE and installation, which is furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which is a major part of any hotel opening, is getting the equipment, the furniture, and the furnishings to the hotel. Not only getting them to the hotel, which we obviously know is a challenge with supply chain, but how can we get those items up into the guest rooms themselves and are ready to service and be available for our clients and guests. So we're anticipating a soft opening, grand opening here in the third quarter of 2022, and we're hitting on all those cylinders to work as hard as we possibly can to meet that deadline of third quarter of this year. When you talk about workforce training, one of the things that's so important to a hotel is its team. It's a beautiful building, it's got beautiful furnishings, but what will make the Yorktowne Hotel is a focus in on associate, a focus in on the people. So we'll be establishing our 6-month critical path and working with the YCEA workforce programs and committees, including Pathways to Prosperity, and working on those modules that help our citizens move towards what is going to be an amazing property, but it's also going to have 70 new positions in that hotel for people in the city of York to make meaningful wage and to be rewarded on a day in and day out basis with what I think is the greatest industry. Some of the people in the audience may disagree, but for me, it's very heartfelt, and hospitality is my heart, and I really think that what we can do for the community in terms of bringing those 65 or 70 associates into our building to be of service to the greater York area is just going to be a wonderful experience. We'll have some hospitality job fair here in the summer, which is a call to action to bring people into the area, go through an extensive screening process. We'll only be looking to bring the very best of the best into our hotel to deliver that service model. That's supported through the area community as well. We're already receiving applicants for the hotel, very similar to the area. When is the hotel going to open? When are we going to be able to book our rooms? When are we going to be able to have our meeting rooms, our grand events, our weddings, those types of things? We've got many people that are reaching out to us from Hilton and other brands from the area because the opportunity to work in a full-service hotel is very desired. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. We touched on it, but it can't be understated. The partnership between the Yorktowne Hotel, which has an amazing reputation and knowledge of people in the area, but to have the Hilton name attached to it. The Tapestry Collection is a rather unique aspect of the brand Hilton, in that it gives us the opportunity to be, I'm sorry, am I on the right space? There we go. Okay, so sorry about that. The Tapestry Collection gives us the opportunity to really be unique and be specific to tapestries and clothes or materials and those things that make the Yorktowne unique. Hilton embraces those elements with the Hilton Tapestry Collection so we can be uniquely our own. The Hilton Honors Program, which is one of the very best frequent membership programs in the country in terms of building brand loyalty. So it really helps us in terms of being able to assure that the income and the flow of business that will come into the property with the Hilton brand affiliation is important. And then it really validates the market. It becomes an anchor hotel in the downtown York area and makes it so that we really are set up for success because people have a respect in the local area for the Yorktowne Hotel and its rich tradition, but nationally the Hilton brand is a real powerful engine towards bringing people to our area. I want to share a little bit here, our model rooms. We've been doing tours. Kim and I and some of the team have been doing tours on a regular basis. Many of the faces in this audience have been out to the hotel to take a tour of it. And to share and the progress. But one of the areas that's really been a big hit is the model rooms. We're going to have 123 guest rooms. 22 of those rooms, which is really exciting to me, are going to be extended stay suites. They're on the 7th and 8th floor. They're at the highest level. They've got absolutely beautiful views from that level of the property. All of the rooms in the hotel have views with brand new windows to take in the beautiful city and the surroundings. We have queen and king combination rooms in the models, and as you can see, just absolutely beautiful Hilton brand standard rooms. And I think the thing that's really important for those of you who remember the old Yorktowne rooms, these rooms have all been stripped down to the bare minimum to where everything in the room is absolutely new. The carpeting is new, the plumbing is new, the electricity is new, the safety is new, the windows, the window treatments. Everything in this guest room is going to be state-of-the-art, contemporary, forward-thinking Hilton brand product. However, it is in such a design and setting that it's going to be respectful of the historic elements of the Yorktowne Hotel. So we're really excited about that. And then we have another view of the beautiful rooms there at the Yorktowne that have a number of connecting rooms, as I've mentioned, the extended suites, which really allows us the opportunity to be of service to every single consumer in the market, because we have a wide variety of room types, room sizes, and different price points. So one of the things that we're even more excited about that we could just talk about all morning, but I know we're on a time frame. Megan will start flashing that sign to me to get off the stage. But the rooftop activation, the Graham Rooftop Lounge is just going to be an absolutely amazing addition to the Yorktowne. Very sought after, very popular. We have new elevator and stair access to that space. It's ADA sensitive. It's open to the public and can be booked for private events, so we're thrilled about that. The views are all year round. Has an amazing restaurant and fantastic opportunity there to host people in the local area and from all around. We really feel confident that the rooftop lounge is going to be something that's going to be on the lips of people in the area, that it's a must-see. You have to see the Yorktowne. You have to get to the rooftop lounge. It'll have both indoor seating that'll seat up to 50. It'll have an exterior patio that will seat up to 150. So we have an opportunity to do up to 200 people on that rooftop deck. And then in this picture to the right, you'll see our retail space. And we've got an amazing opportunity for 3 partners in the Yorktowne Hotel. And this gets back to a bit of a plug. We've got a beautiful space that's the center section of that bottom picture, which is set up to be a restaurant facility, restaurant addition to our hotel. Great storefront, patio dining. We really would like to see that be realized. And then we have 2 smaller retail spaces on either side of that we think that are amazing opportunities for a future retailer and to develop as a partner to the hotel with the hotel guests that are in the hotel on a regular basis. We really just see that as a very important and unique partnership. Hotel features and amenities. I talked a little bit about this, the street access and restaurant, the hotel lobby bar. This hotel is very well appointed in the lobby to be a social setting, and you'll see that in some of these pictures. We have a private dining room that is available for special events and special occasions. The ballroom and pre-function face, the well-spanned grand ballroom and the Pulo mirror room have been set up and designed as separate rooms in the redesign that are really going to set us up for ballroom pre-function and any activity that anyone would have in the downtown York area. We talked about the rooftop lounge, but the fitness center is also going to be there. It'll be state-of-the-art Hilton products, sensitivity to all of the new fitness opportunities that are there with a large space as well, and just serving as an elegant wedding venue and space. Okay. So then we have the lobby bar view from the market entrance. And as you can see, just an absolute beautiful space. The terrazzo tile is preserved from the original construction. Improved ADA accessibility. The historic restoration of it has been taken down to every single detail with respect to the items that were in that area, with the recognition of the historical component. So we're really, really thrilled about that. And then one of the things that's really going to be unique to the Yorktown is that we're going to have local art that's going to be located in each of the public spaces to give the Yorktown a real feel and sense of those local artists in the area that are going to be able to show their great talents into our hotel. There's a lobby view from the Arrival Plaza, very welcome and cozy, historic restoration. The idea of this, the contemporary traveler now does not want to be in their rooms. Even though we're going to have beautiful rooms at the Yorktown, the average guest wants to be social. They want to be interactive. They want to be involved with other guests. And so the view from the Arrival Plaza, the welcome and cozy feeling, the adjacent area to the lobby bar and to the public, the private dining room are going to be really, really key elements to the first floor experience for our guests. And then one of the things that was really important, any guest that's coming to a hotel, what is my first experience? You only get one chance to make a first impression. And the new Arrival Plaza has a new entrance off of Market Street, welcoming landscaping and lighting. We'll have valet parking for special events. We'll partnership with the parking garage across the way for our guests. And then as part of the plaza, we will be adding the addition of the Zion Church, which will be a part of that as well. So we're really excited to have that access. For those of you between the county City Hall and the hotel itself, the access is going to be two-way. So that's going to give us a real opportunity for accessibility to the hotel, into and out of it. And with the Arrival Plaza, it also opened up the opportunity for some additional lighting in that space. So absolutely beautiful. I'm really, really excited to see it. And we couldn't be more excited to welcome you back. We're really excited to be that hotel company and that hotel, and we're looking towards seeing you face to face and being your hosts for future events at the Yorktowne Hotel. So thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael. Your enthusiasm for our community is infectious. And I would also add, I met with Michael twice last week, and over again, keep on asking, how can I partner with downtown merchants, downtown businesses? How can I start selling their products in the Yorktown? How can I get the word out about all the great restaurants, great shows to see at the Appell Center? And Michael's very excited to be here in downtown York, and it's going to be Yorktown has been an incredible asset, and it's coming back to be an even more incredible asset for downtown York. So as somebody who firmly believes that communities that prioritize safe and walkable spaces are communities that are healthy, I am pleased to announce our next panelists. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Shue, Director of Municipal Services of CS Davidson, to give an update on the soon-to-be-completed Heritage Rail Trail.
Good morning. I get to talk this morning about two of my favorite topics, one being trails and the other being improvements to the city of York, and in this case they kind of overlap in a big way. I want to start with not really where we are right now, but where we were and the history that has led up to this. In the late 80s, a lot of smarter people than me that are sitting in this room had the ability to see the future and see the advantages to a rail trail being conducted through York City. So in the late 80s and ultimately culminating in 2000, a trail was built from the Maryland line that connected the Maryland trails up into York City, and we arrived in York City in roughly 2000. That allowed us to see what it could be, but I knew that there was a lot more work to do, as many others did. So from there, what they did was they jumped over York City, because at that time the Northwest Triangle was still just a vision that was needed to be developed further, and we knew that we couldn't work continuing north. We had to start from the north in Rudy Park and work back into the city. So that vision was seen as a reality just before the pandemic, and we landed actually just at one of the development sites that you just heard about with Keystone Kids Center. And so that's where we stood for a little while. We recently took bids in 2021, and we opened bids, and Kinsley was the low bidder for that project. And I'll talk about the details of that project. But as we were moving along on the outskirts of the city, it was important that the city define where this trail needed to be, because that location, that alignment was so critical to its success. And we saw that. What was done was I'm sorry, get the right slide. Oops, wrong way. There we go. What was done, you'll see in the top, your left corner, was a charrette was completed in 2016 that asked the question, how does the Cador's Creek and the Northwest Triangle and the public uses that need to be part of all that and woven together, how does that play together? And that allowed us to be able to come up with an alignment for the trail through the city that was best functioning for the users of the trail and the experience within the city of York and the impacts, positive impacts to the city. So that alignment allowed people like myself to create plans that are much less sexy than the one on the top and more like the one on the bottom right, to allow us to define the rights of ways and the land acquisition that needed to be secured for the trail to occur and blend into the development that is so important for the Northwest Triangle's development and success. From that, we then were able to start with the engineering and some of the other kind of minutia of creating a trail in the city of York. I'm a big fan of the fact that what I believe we have done is approach this in a very logical fashion, and in doing so, we have carved out what should be public use along the creek from the development potential associated with that public use. And I think that we've taken our time to develop the city as it should be and as it currently defined as the golden spike to this very important project for the County of York. What's exciting to me is the fact that we now have, when this will be completed in May of this year, we will have a 26-mile corridor within York County, with the heart of it being the city, for users that are now coming here for this one attraction and staying for a lot of the other things that we're hearing about this morning. So a little bit about the nitty-gritty and the stuff that I see, but probably is less important than what I just talked about, because if we get everything we just talked about right, then this is the important part that we get right in terms of brick and mortar. But I think this is the easier lift of the items. What you will see here is about a half-mile trail that will connect the north and the south that already exist. Kinsley was the low bidder. This represents, believe it or not, a half-mile trail, approximately 20 lights that will emulate the trail that already exists to the south of Market Street, and is a paved trail, half a mile long. It'll have 30 pedestrian-style lights, very similar to what we've already seen on the other sections of trail. And it represents about a $1.5 million investment that was not necessarily city money, but all of our money. It was funding through DCNR, Pennsylvania DCNR. It was funding through a process through a transportation alternatives program, which is called TAP, and that's administered through the county through YAMPA, which is York Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. All these agencies come together and create a $1.5 million investment for a half-mile trail that I think is the culmination of a lot of work over the last 30 years. And we're excited to be part of that. I know that the city is going to see tremendous benefit when this golden spike, if you want to call it that, is completed, and we allow people to move from the Maryland line up to Rudy Park. The bigger portion of this, in terms of really kind of bringing this all together, is that we've heard a lot of discussion this morning, and I know you all are very aware of all the aspects of the city that need to be combined in a meaningful way in a walkable environment. And this allows things as simple as someone from York College being able to get on this trail and walk to Revs Park, or someone that lives in the city being able to walk to the Keystone Kids Center. These are the walkability issues that I think are as important, if not more important than the recreational use of the trail that all of us enjoy. So what I like to point out is the fact that we are combining the assets that already exist or are being developed in the city of York through a kind of a thread that has become a 26-mile thread from the Maryland line to Rudy Park. And it is kind of this collaborative effort between the county and the city and all the other municipalities that benefit from such an investment. It's not just a trail, you know. I think all of us know that at this point. I'm not sure how the visionaries that started this in 1980 understood what it could be, but it certainly has become a huge asset for our community. I'd like to talk about two other aspects of projects that are going on in the city that don't necessarily deal with the trail, but again, these things all combine together. We have two projects in George Street. One was mentioned earlier this morning. We have led a project with JVI contractors to the tune of about $3 million to finally do restoration to George Street. And that will include some changes to the George Street that will hopefully allow traffic to utilize that space in a more efficient manner. It also includes the improvements to intersections for pedestrian traffic to make York City even more walkable. So that'll be a major investment that you'll see this summer. It probably will start in about a month. And I'm sure that there'll be complaints about traffic congestion and concerns due to traffic control that we will try very hard to make sure that they do not have a negative impact. But construction is construction, and we'll do our best to make sure that that's as smooth as possible. Temporary inconvenience for a long-term gain there, and a very much needed long-term gain. The second project that I want to mention is a project that will take that same restoration of George Street, which will start at Rafton Road. It will move north to about North Street, which is the $3 million contract I just mentioned. Then there'll be a second contract that will be let probably in August of this year to do improvements to the bridge over the Cadorus Creek on George Street, which will also improve the trail structure and connection that we were just mentioning. And it will extend that reclamation and paving work for George Street into North York Borough. So those two projects will kind of work right off the heels of this trail project to continue to make York a better place to live and work. I think that, you know, all of these projects are only made possible through the hard work of the people that are trying to make sure that, you know, York's economics are difficult when you're talking about the infrastructure that we're managing, that we're building, et cetera. The projects that I just mentioned are largely paid for through the hard work of achieving grants to make sure that these capital improvements are facilitated. And in this case, you're talking almost $5 million in grant activity that allowed for the city to see these capital improvements and infrastructure management. So I applaud all the people that are working at the City of York and the people that have made these things a reality. I'm glad to be part of it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And as you heard at the top of the program, I do really enjoy walking, long distances sometimes. So when the rail trail is completed, I will walk the rail trail in celebration. So something to look forward to. Lastly, please join me in welcoming Terry Altland, VP of Visitor Engagement of the York County History Center, who will update us on the very exciting upcoming building project that will provide residents and visitors of downtown York with the opportunity to learn more about our historically edgy community. Welcome, Terry.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities to update you on the York County History Center. The vision that we have for the History Center is to provide an audience-centered community asset at the corner of Philadelphia and Philadelphia Street and Pershing Avenue. We like to call the steam plant. We want to move from keepers of the artifacts to facilitators who use those artifacts as a means of storytelling to ignite a fresh interest in our local history. In creating a new museum, we will tell the stories as diverse as our citizens, highlighting networks, global impacts, and modern relevance. We will celebrate the community's treasures in showcasing the people and objects from York County and become the place for our visitors to connect in the present, celebrate the past, and imagine the future to reveal that everyone is a history maker. As a center for community, we want to provide not only a museum, library, and archives that showcases York's unique history, but also a welcoming space where we can encourage dialogue among community members, speakers, educators, visitors, on critical topics at the core of the York County experience. It is through these conversations that we will create a place where what has been done can inspire a belief in what can be done. So I'm excited to share with you a video walkthrough of our core exhibit. Our architect, warehouse, exhibit designers, PRD Group, and Richard Lewis Media Group have really done an outstanding job in capturing the York County spirit, and I hope you enjoy the sneak peek. Do we have sound? There should be sound. Yeah.
When you come inside, you'll find inspirational stories that highlight the personal connections we all share with our history and each other. Our exhibits reflect what matters to you, sharing multiple perspectives about our experiences, and acknowledging the many cultures, traditions, and innovations that contribute to the character of our county. Here, it's possible to discover new ways of understanding our history. The people of York are known for our revolutionary ideas, for the founding of our nation, re-energizing our economy, and for striving to improve social conditions across the county. And new stories continue to happen. The History Center stays relevant by building easily changeable exhibits and by enabling visitors to record their own stories about their York experience. We'll continue to listen and grow with our community. And we'll preserve our stories for future generations. Come join us at the History Center. Your history starts here.
Now I'd like to ask History Center board member Glenn Miller to offer a few remarks about our construction.
Good morning. It's great to be in the position of the guy standing between you and getting back to your offices. Jessica, as I was listening to your presentation, I thought how cool it is you're taking care of that play and education of our young people on one side of the creek, and the History Center in many respects is taking care of the lifelong learning that's important for all of us, and we could not be more excited about this project. I've been asked to just say a couple of words about the nuts and bolts of construction and opening. I'm going to suggest that maybe the Keystone folks and the hotel and the History Center could form a support group to talk about the challenges of construction during COVID. We've had tremendous success on the fundraising front, but COVID was an enormous impact on us in terms of the timing of this project. The good news, if you have wandered down to that area at all, you may have noticed some destruction at least going on, which is the precursor to the construction that will happen. We are now moving forward. Our board voted formally in December to engage contracts and to move forward with the project, and so that has begun. We haven't set an official groundbreaking yet, but that will be happening soon. Please stay tuned. And our hope is to have this facility open in the fall of 2023. Supply chain and other things will have something to say about whether that happens, but that is our plan at the moment. And again, thank you very much for your support for this initiative. It's been a long time coming, but such an incredible and integral part of all of the things that we've already heard about here this morning in the revitalization of our city. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Terry, and thank you, Glenn. And thank you to all of our speakers for presenting today. And there was a lot of exciting things announced this morning, things that are happening in downtown York, and to be clear, it's only a fraction of things that are happening in downtown York, so that's really exciting. I do want to invite all of our speakers back to the stage now. We do have a few minutes for Q&A, so any of our speakers from this morning, come on, pop on up here, and I know we're running close to our end of our time here, so we'll try to get a few questions in. Megan will be around with a microphone if you have any individual questions for any of our presenters today. You can go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. Any folks who are on our Facebook Live as well, if you want to type into the chat there, any questions, feel free to do so, and we'll pass this on to Megan. It's always tough being the first person.
One of the major initiatives that we've been looking forward to for a long time in this community are the improvements and modifications to the Cadorus Creek and the Cadorus Creek channel that will make it hopefully more user-friendly and will provide more access to the creek. Can anybody give us an update on what's happening and the schedule for that construction, I guess predominantly in the area between Philadelphia Street and King Street?
Jeff, do you want to cover that, or?
I can talk briefly to it, Tim. I know that Buchard Horn is working on that project, and they are working with the Army Corps and with funding agencies to proceed with that work. I think it's in the permitting stage at this point, and I can't speak to the timeline. I'm sorry, I can't talk to that. I know that they are also talking about work that it'll be focused probably Market Street toward York College at this point. That's the stretch of that phasing that they're looking at first.
And Tim, I know there's a lot more information out there. I'll get with you later on and connect you with some of that information. I don't have it all readily available with me right now, but yeah, it's a very exciting project, and it's a long time in making. And by a long time, I mean 100 years in the making. So it's really exciting to see it really come to fruition soon. So thank you. Any questions? You can go ahead and raise your hand.
My question is for Commissioner Muldrow. You mentioned the partnership with WellSpan Health. Can you talk a little bit more about how the York City Police Department works with WellSpan? What is that protocol, and what does that engagement look like if someone comes to York Hospital? Thank you.
Absolutely, and I want to make sure I get this right because I see Miss Vicky here. Good morning. So just to kind of to nutshell it for everybody, I believe everybody in the room is generally pretty familiar with the concept of school resource officers and how that model looks on campuses. So in essence, that obviously I have a rich history of working as a school police officer and as a SRO because I had done it for, I hate to date myself, but almost 20 years. So we look to bring that model into the hospital realm, into the hospital campus, because it's such an engaging and rich, diverse model that really focuses on relationships and relationship building and customer service. Obviously, you have the residual benefit of increasing safety levels overall on a campus, but it's being done in a very connection-driven way, that you have the officers that are there that immerse themselves in your campus life at York Hospital, fully immerse themselves and become part of the team in essence. So they are there to support the staff. They are there to support with any issues that may occur. They're there to drive resources in the direction and make seamless transition for any emergency response. But they're also to take care of the day-to-day needs of the patient. So while they're there in a hospital room receiving care and they're in need of follow-up, they're in need to make a report, they're in need to connect with and just dialogue with an officer, they're able to do that and not have one extra concern or one extra burden sitting on them as they're sitting there receiving care in their hospital room. So we're super excited with what we've already been able to do with the program and bring to what they're already doing on a WellSpan campus, even with things like integrating our therapy dog program and the hit that's become with our routine visits of our service dogs throughout the hospital campus, and just to see the way that the staff and the patients have taken to that initiative and the new light in the faces of our officers that have been assigned to the program. It couldn't have been a bigger success.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Elaine. I also want to point out, Elaine Bonneau is our former director of Downtown Inc. And you know, as I stepped into this new role, it was really great for me to have Elaine's leadership for the past 2 years and demonstrating what the potential is of Downtown Inc. And I've thanked her personally, but now I want to thank you publicly for that. It's some stylish shoes to fill, and I'm trying real hard. So I even got a haircut with this guy. So thank you, Elaine. Any other questions out there? Any questions coming from online at all? Got a question in the back there?
Thank you. My question is for Jessica. Your words really touched my heart when you talked about how after the last couple of years, our kids not only need programs like this, but deserve programs like this. It made me think of my children. And I think your passion for what you do really shines through. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what types of outreach programs you guys might have to connect with kids in the city to make the programs more accessible and affordable for them. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. It was challenging to figure out what to talk about in only 5 minutes, and I tried to respect my time limit, but the question that you asked is very important to us and very core to our mission and what we're all about. So ensuring that all kids and families have equitable, regular, meaningful access to our programs and the experiences that we can offer is the greatest challenge before us, but also, frankly, in a lot of ways, the most important thing. So we are committed to the idea that we're not just going to offer free days and sort of token one-time special opportunities, that we really want to take every step possible to ensure that even families who maybe can't afford a membership or day passes on a regular basis can be full members of our community. So we, to this point, as I mentioned, we've only been open since October, so we don't have many months and years of experience with this. But from the very first moment when we opened in October, we partnered with 3 city-based schools to partner with their guidance offices to identify families who would most benefit from membership and scholarshiped many families from those schools. So I think we started with 15 scholarshiped families when we first opened. That is just the very beginning. A huge priority for us from a fundraising standpoint is to raise the funds necessary to provide scholarship. We are also deeply invested in being as strong of a partner as we can be to city schools and community organizations that serve kids and families in the city of York and similarly disadvantaged communities. We recently were approved to receive EITC funds, for example, which we intend to deploy specifically for that purpose. Our hope in partnering with schools is not just to be a fun field trip destination, but to the extent possible, explore how we can be an extension of their campus and help their teaching staffs and their families and their kids have regular access, again, to the equipment, the tools, our teaching artists, our creatives and residents, to help them, again, have full access to everything that we have to offer. What we hope to avoid is Keystone Kidspace ever being in a position of asking a family to demonstrate to us that they have a financial need. We really have a very strong preference to work with community organizations and school leadership and others who know their communities best, know the families they work with best, to help us identify, again, families, as many as we can possibly fund and support to be, again, sort of regular parts of our community. And we also are especially interested in partnering with organizations who could make use of our space as part of their programs. So I mentioned the Girl Scouts earlier. Their urban scouting programs are all meeting at Keystone Kidspace. We've done special events with the STEAM Academy, with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I would be thrilled to talk to anyone else who would like to figure out how to help their kids and families have access to this space. But we are just beginning this work, but it is hugely important to us, and we will be holding ourselves accountable to how successful we are in really ensuring that we're genuinely accessible.
I think we have time for one more quick question. If there's any more quick questions out there before we wrap up. Wow, we answered all your questions. Wonderful. All right, well, things are happening here in historically edgy downtown York, and I want to personally thank all of you for joining us today and partnering with the ongoing work of Downtown Inc. To stay up to date on all things happening with Downtown Inc. in downtown York, go to downtownyorkpa.com. You can follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we now have TikTok. For all you TikTokers out there, I see a few in the crowd. I'm just kidding. Have a great day, and I will see you all around downtown York.